But obviously, when you're going against yourselves, you obviously one side's got to have an upper hand, and one has to not on every given play. But holistically, I was really encouraged by performance of our defense. And I also wanted to say this. So we kind of went through, and I shared this with our team yesterday. But you go through fall camp. It's about 2.5 weeks, and every time we go live, and there's only certain segments during a normal practice when you're in full pads. You go live, you don't do it the whole practice, and then you have your 2 scrimmages, which are pretty much all live. And there were 6 freshmen that stuck out to me, and I had these guys stand up yesterday in our team meeting, and Maurice Freeman on defense, Jordan Greer, Matt Holt, and then Donovan McCauley on offense, David Holloman, and Malachi Holt Bennett. And not that other guys didn't, but it's when you take the whole body of work, I just felt like those guys, and it wasn't something we did as a staff, it's something I just said, you know what, I've always challenged our players with it. If you want to have an opportunity to play, you get your coach's attention and make plays when it's live, because live football to me is live tackling, it's live, everything's live. You're just going to play to the whistle, and that's when you really see who's out there making plays. And so those 6 guys stuck out to me, and throughout the course of fall camp, like I said, other guys flashed at times, but they were most consistent. So I want to recognize those guys. And then also just want to, I know it was mentioned last week, but with our Women's Excellence Initiative from IU, just really appreciate Scott's leadership, Scott Dolson and Maddie White just do a tremendous job, and it's an area that I fully support and want to encourage others to do the same as we continue to advance our athletic programs here in Indiana. So excited about the direction of this athletic program, and ready to take questions.
Kevin, just go down the line.
Yeah, Coach. Okay, just to clarify, I mean, are you going 1s-on-1s, 2s-on-2s when you do your scrimmage?
We've done that, yeah. We in other years maybe we don't always do it that way, but we go, it's 1s versus 1s, 2s versus 2s, and right down the line, and able to kind of see what you got, in those moments, make as much game like as possible.
And any veterans particularly stand out, and how was the passing game with Mike and Jack?
Yeah, I would say, the guys that stuck out on Saturday was the guys on defense, and so I thought our secondary played extremely well, not giving up a lot of things and made it really difficult, a lot of contested balls. A lot of good pressure up front, and we do a lot of things that and we're not trying to scheme for each other, and offense made some plays too, obviously, but I think there's no question. I thought, Ty, as good as we know he is, here's what I'm going to say about Ty. This is the part that really stuck out to me. So you get young men at certain points in their career. He made the decision to come back, and he could have gone on and been playing in the NFL right now, but he chose to come back. And he had his reasons, and I agree with him. And so, but I just really appreciate his approach. I mean, he is he got, you don't want him to get laid out or anything, but he got hit yesterday or Saturday in scrimmage, and he just pops back up. I mean, you're trying to avoid some of those things, obviously, for guys that can, but it's tackle football. It happens. And so, but he doesn't. Some guys, when they get to this point, they kind of, they're worried about this, worried about that. I mean, he just goes all out. He's tough. He don't say anything. He just plays football, and I appreciate it. So his attitude, his leadership for a guy that's been here a long time, and he came back for an additional year, and he's elevated himself. He's got his body in great position, and he's worked his tail off in the weight room, and so I just love his mindset, and he stuck out to me. He just catches a lot of balls, and obviously he and Mike have great chemistry, and I thought our tight ends played really well, and they continue to play really well, and that's our linebackers played well. They just took control of the team and ran the defense, and I thought they just did great. It was the best they've done with all those things, and I felt like another guys, Stephen Carr kind of still continues to pop to me, and guys like that. So it was a good day for our program, because it allows you to work on things, and it's like that one last chance to really get into that. Now you're getting a little more into Iowa mode here this week. So, but it was a really good day for our players to be able to be stressed. Had a lot of 125 or 26 snaps, totally for the whole group. So a lot of snaps. You want them to press through the heat, long drives, trying to get your body and mentally and physically ready to play. You play on Saturdays.
Matt Holt's a guy you've mentioned a couple times already during fall camp. He's obviously in a really deep room, but just what has he been doing that's been allowing him to pop so much?
Well, Well, I gotta say, yeah, I get it that he doesn't know what he's doing yet completely, as all freshmen are. He just got here this summer, so he hasn't mastered the scheme, but he has a really good feel for the game. Some guys just have a great presence in the box, and they know how to read their keys, and they just have a knack to get to the football. And he just, like I said, when we're going live, he makes plays, we've even, played him at both positions, both at Mike and the Stinger, which is hard to learn when you first got it, because like I said, he wasn't here in the springtime. So it's just making tackles. He's a good tackler, and it's kind of like, if you want to be a great running back, you better be able to run, If you want to be a great receiver, you better be able to catch, and you got to be, if you want to be a really good linebacker, man, you better be a great tackler. So has a really good skill set to tackle, and but gets to the ball, reads his keys, he's smart, and so I think he's very efficient, doesn't waste movements, and which is kind of unusual for a younger guy, so yeah, he just continues to impress me, and I like what I'm seeing from him.
How is kind of player conditioning being handled from a standpoint of last year it was such inconsistency from playing to not playing to playing again, then having a long season running late into January, now with a second scrimmage going on now. Is it hard to kind of keep the players kind of at the level you'd want them to be with so much going on, their bodies kind of not really still in a normal calendar year over the last 12 months?
Yeah, I think we're getting in a good rhythm with that, and you bring up a good point, because everything was so botched, before, and to try and get back to, what's that normal flow look like and feel like. You think about our current sophomores and our current freshmen. You have half your team, you have two classes that really have never been through, this flow before, and so, because last year was so different. But yeah, I think that, that's kind of our goal for this week, is to get in a rhythm. So we've changed our pattern from the past. So Sunday was our off day in the past. Now it's going to be Monday is our off day, and so today is off, and so just getting in that flow, and so that's why we did some things even yesterday on the field, because it was a day that we lifted, watched film, had team meetings, had special teams meetings, had position meetings, and then we went out on the field last night and did some work, and some a jog through mode, So that will be a traditional Sunday feel now, and then today's they got to learn today's first day of class, So just getting in that rhythm of class, and then how they're going to come in on their own, and foam roll or take care of their bodies, a recovery day for them, physically, and then they start the process on their own, watching film, and so we're trying to get them ready for that, and then have a full padded day on Tuesday, and then shells on Wednesday, and then spiders on Thursday, and then walk through on Friday. So we're trying to get them in that rhythm, and that's because you're interesting as you go through this. Like everything we do is we look back to what we did in 2019. Not what we did in 2020, because it was so different, and so we're trying to get back into that. So I feel good about where we are with all that, but I think this week will be a good precursor. We're going to have a mock game on Saturday. It's not a scrimmage, it's a mock game. It'll be in spiders, but it's all situational things. And so once again, just continuing to get it in that rhythm, and then you have a normal Sunday, normal Monday, and then flow through a normal game prep week next week.
Dustin and Zach.
Just to keep going on the theme, just talking about the scrimmage. You talked last week about wanting to come out of that knowing, have a good sense of what your identity is, what you do well, and who does it well. Yeah. How close do you think you are to that, basically, after two scrimmages, and to the degree to which you could say without giving too much away, what do you think your identity is?
I feel better about it, in regards to that. I think, you got to continue to have, the edge that you want in all areas, all three of them. And so, and by no means are we, we had a good solid scrimmage, but you're like, man, we got a lot of things to work on, So, but I think you start kind of getting because every team's different, every group of guys you work with, even though we have a lot of guys back and we haven't made massive changes schematically, it's all pretty much similar. But at the same time, we have made some adjustments, and so those you want to make sure you feel good about those and feel like they're giving you what you want, and you don't know until you start playing your games for sure on some of this stuff. But at the same time, I think you're getting a good feel for where can we hang our hat, with this team. And I'm not going to give too much away for obvious reasons. But at the same time, I feel like that both sides of the ball have had a chance to really elevate themselves and show in those game-like situations, who they are. And then during the week when we do live goes, it's gone back and forth, where each side's one period's been dominated by the offense, and then sometimes the very next period may be dominated by the defense, or it could come down to the final play. We do a lot of competitions with our guys, and we'll do that again tomorrow, and stuff. So, but to me, it's just, there's just a toughness that you got to develop, and that's part of our identity. Just to be able to have, even on Saturday, extended drives, create those drives in the heat, when it's hard, when it's going your way, going out your way, manufacturing stuff, and creating, maybe, hey, fabricating a penalty to make sure this drive gets extended, just so our guys have to play through adversity, and when that happens. And we had officials there, and so we were able to do all those kind of things. So I just feel like we're getting closer, for sure, but we're not in the final game week yet. Prep, we're getting close, but tomorrow's practice is going to be important, to continue to build some of these things. And so, yeah, I think the depth chart's becoming a little more clear, and we'll get into that. And then also just the things that you feel good about, because obviously, as you get close to kickoff, you got to do the things that you do well, and find creative ways to get the ball to the guys on offense that can help you win games, and then obviously get your guys in position to make plays on defense, and then they got to make them.
Zach and Sammy?
Trying really hard to send this tweet. Forgive me for being that media member, but health-wise, are there any guys out there that have picked up stuff that you're concerned about long-term? Kind of two questions, but that's the first one. Any guys that in these last couple weeks, as you've really ramped up in camp, have picked up anything you're concerned about long-term injury-wise?
I would say from a long-term perspective, not really. There's going to be some guys, that even as we met today and we talked through, actually went through and kind of did a, just a dry run on travel list, because this is a Big Ten opener on the road. So you can only take so many guys. You can take 74 guys on a Big Ten road game. If it was a non-Big Ten road, it was a road game that was a non-Big Ten, we could take more. It's kind of at your discretion on that. So there's a little set number you have to have. You can't take more than that. So getting to that number is a big deal. And so the injury list, and there's still guys there. Yeah, the guys got a few guys dinged up even on Saturday, even though we're trying to prevent those things. You can't. It's part of the game. And so we'll probably may not even know on some of those guys till maybe even next, Wednesday, which is when we do our final dress list after practice on Wednesday. So got a pretty good idea. And so to answer your question, don't have a lot of long-term concerns. But we do have some guys that they're still nursing some things and may or may not be able to go on September 4th.
And then I guess the other one is the Big Ten formalized and announced its COVID-19 sort of forfeit protocol. It's kind of in line with all the other Power 5 conferences, but I guess for you, you talked about at Media Day, sort of talking to your players, and I know other coaches did too, about how vaccination rates were going to be a competitive advantage. They were obviously an individual choice, but it was going to be something that was going to have an impact on, individuals, basically impacting team success. Is it, I don't know if validation is quite the right word, but just sort of something you can kind of underscore to those guys now to say, I know you've said you're past 90% as a team, sort of to say this is what you all kind of collectively bought into, and this is the position you put us in now, is kind of to be in a more advantageous position. I know it's a weird thing to think about as an advantage, but
yeah, you're right. It is odd to have that thought process, and I don't dwell on that too much. We talk to our guys, but yeah, we've talked very openly and honestly about it. It was a decision that they have to make, and but there are now, as you've seen, there's stated consequences for a team that cannot play due to COVID. And in the past, last year it wasn't a necessarily a forfeit, and this year it will be. Like you said, it's been consistent, and we expected it. I would have been surprised if we didn't come with this policy as a conference, but it's officially announced now, so it's out there, and so yeah, I mean, it's just part of what we got to deal with, as coaches and as players, and so to me, we know where we are numerically with that, and still continue to try to, if guys choose to, make a decision with that, even moving forward, so even as the medical information continues to grow and come out even today with the vaccines and how they are approved and different things by FDA. So just all those different things that you go through, and at the end of the day, it's become a variable in the preparation process that, 2 years ago, we never even thought of anything like this, and obviously last year was what it was, and now this year it continues to be a variable, and yeah, you want to be able to keep your guys healthy, and that's the goal, and that's all we've said in this whole process. I want to be able to do everything we can do to keep our team healthy and create the bubble that we want to have with our team, and it's going to affect game day, even just people that come to the stadium and be around our team, and sideline and different things like that, and access to our team and how we travel and all that stuff. So to me, that's it's a consistent part of the protocols and whatever they are, and we're finding out more and more what they are, and as they come out, we just make sure we're doing everything we can do as a program to give us a competitive advantage.
Sammy, then Matt Weaver.
Good afternoon.
James Evans, is he adjusting to the way of use the equipment. But what's your grade for the special teams so far through fall camp?
Yeah, I would say, James is adapting well. I thought had some really good kicks on Saturday. And it's part of it too is us adjusting, to him. He is adjusting to the pads, and I think that part's been, he did a great job over the summer. I don't know if I told this or not, but I came in here on a Friday night once. As a matter of fact, I was with my wife, and we were walking and had a couple with us that we were showing some of the facilities around, and it was 8 o'clock at night on a Friday night, and he was out here in full pads kicking on his own, in the stadium. And but that was one of the things that we sat down and met and talked about, in the spring, was him kicking in his pads over the summer on his own. If I'm talking full pads, helmet, shoulder pads, game uniform, everything, and that he'd been given from our equipment guys. And so, but that just shows you the buy-in and the care factor. And I know the couple that we were with was they were like, holy smokes, what's he doing? I said, well, he's that's our new punter, and he's working through all that stuff. So I think that helped him a whole bunch. And then just me, like my whole thing is you always want to we want to tailor what we do to his strengths. And so that's really what fall camp's given us a chance to really kind of refine that. And we're still working through those things, and that way he can be at his best when it counts the most, which is one of our 3 DNA items for our special teams and our specialists themselves. And so I'm encouraged by him, and obviously Charles is a tremendous kicker as well. But just got got a new holder and got some new guys. Now we've got the same long snapper. Our kickoff guys will be the same, and they're competing every day. And so, but to me, they've been solid. I just want to always, the only thing you still can't, you're trying to create as much game-like as you can. But we're going to have the mock game, and they're going to play a big role in that on Saturday coming up. And how they kick and how they perform in that setting, to me, we'll have a look team. It won't be live, but a look team going against them, making them feel that the pressure and the rushes that they're going to have, and the things in their face at times as a kicker, and handling those distractions and crowd noise. We've been pumping in some crowd noise already. We did that in both the scrimmage and then in practice last week for our specialists as well. Just with a guy like James that hasn't punted in that environment and stuff. But it's we've had this happen in the past. We've had 3 kickers from the Pro Kicker Australia, that we've recruited over the years since I've been doing this, and 2 of them have been here, and all 3 of them have had their opening game has been a big game. The last time it was against Ohio State on that Thursday night game, and then before that we had in the game down in the Dome in Atlanta was that kicker's first game. And so now this is going to be his first game. At Iowa City there. So just getting a chance to get him going. So to me, we're trying to create as much of those environments as we can.
All right, Matt and Peegs.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Okay. It looks like at the tackle you got, 4 guys kind of maybe separating themselves with CO and DeMarcus and CJ Person and Weston. Just wondering, obviously it's a position where, injuries can happen, you need depth. What guys kind of maybe behind them are starting to emerge, or, what guys caught your eye on the inside there that can help you out?
Yeah, those 4 guys definitely are huge for us, and they've got to, continue to keep working and keep getting ready, and keeping those guys healthy is a big deal, and how well they're playing, and I love the mindset that they have. I think Weston's really brought something to our team from a work ethic perspective, how hard he plays. There's times where I feel like, man, he plays harder than anybody else out there, and it's just consistent day after day, and that's an awesome thing. And then, you got to have guys behind them as well, because you never know what happens. And Gavin McCabe, to me, is the guy that we've moved from defense to offense, now back to defense, and he's a guy that's been able to give us good, solid, strong reps in there. And we got Caleb Murphy working in there, and other young guys as well. And C. Love is another one. That Christian Love's a guy that has been solid. He really, he's a guy that does exactly what he's supposed to do and fits the gaps well, uses his hands extremely well, has good leverage. And Shamar Jones is another guy that's going to be in the rotation as well. And Shamar, to me, is a guy that I expect and I want to elevate and to really help this team, and so to me, he's going to, he needs to play, and I want him to play, and he will play. And so he's a guy that has a lot of twitch, a lot of athleticism, and need to get the most out of him as well. So we're just going to try and do everything we can do to get the best guys in there. And, as the season unfolds, you never know how it's going to play itself out. But we've got a lot of different bodies in there to pick from, and those guys, to me, are all working hard, and they'll be ready when called upon.
All right, Peegs, and then we'll wrap up with Tyler.
Hey, Coach, staying in the same area, how was your rush from the end? You got aggressive with bringing in some guys from the SEC, and now you're in the middle of camp. Have they helped you like you wanted?
Yeah, I would say, when you go through and evaluate the ability for our guys to create pressure, I would say throughout fall camp, Stonehandy's a guy that has stuck out, especially as the camp is come to a close here, and he learned the system more, really flashed the last week of practice, having multiple sacks for multiple days. And then again on Saturday, same thing, so really has stuck out. Ryder Anderson, as you already mentioned, he was here in the spring, knew more about him. He was our MVP for defense in the spring. And so just a big, strong, steady, smart, tough, dependable guy that, we expect those two guys to really give us a lift there, and to be able to really generate pressure, and then obviously we're going to do what we do. We're going to bring pressure. That's who we are. That's how we play. And there's no disguising that, and you just got to figure out where it's coming from and who it's coming from, So, but yeah, those guys, we've added those two to our roster, and they've definitely popped during fall camp.
All right, Tyler, the last one.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well.
Doing great.
Jones said on Friday that, he kind of feels like he's been in the best shape since coming to Indiana. From a strength and conditioning standpoint, what do you remember about him when he arrived at IU and kind of the conversations that you've had with Aaron Wellman in terms of just the plan for him and the progress that he's been able to make recently?
Well, I will say this. He has transformed his body since the first day he got here. Looks like a completely different person. Moves like a completely different person. Last year was hard. The whole COVID situation was difficult for big guys. And he, it was tough. There's no doubt about it. And was not able to play to the level that I know he's capable of, last year because of it. But because of that, as soon as the season was over, Coach Wellman and myself and Caleb, I had Coach Wellman sit down with him and myself, and we mapped out a plan. And hey, this is his goal. This is what you want, and we're like, this is what you need to do to get there. From a daily, we're talking very prescriptive dietary plan, as well as and I think our nutritionist is involved with all the guys, just maximizing everybody in this program to get him right. But he had to do the work, and to me, and he's now as lean as he's been since he's been here. Looks like a completely different person than he did in the fall of 2020 when he came back from the time away, and even when the season started, So, but he obviously feels a lot different and moves different, and so. But that's part of he wanted to do this, and we wanted it for him as well. But you can't make somebody want to alter your entire eating habits, because those things happen when they're away from you as well. And so in the past it was, he had a great plan, and then we would have these lapses and get away, and it would get all out of kilter. So really proud of him for what is doing and is continuing to do, and he has to be consistent with that. But yeah, it's been a collective effort by a lot of people on our staff, and proud of his hard work, and excited for him to be able to reap the benefits of that this season.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Have a great day, Leo.